19:8, Numbers 32, 31, always referencing a plurality.
But you're going to those passages. I'm talking about Genesis chapter 1. And literally right after Genesis 1:26, verse 27, it literally says God created man in his own image. Don't you see that it's explaining you the let us is not made by multiple entities. It's made by one person. It's literally defining you what you've just read in the previous verse. It says God, he created the heavens and the earth. It doesn't say they created the heavens and the earth. It says he created. Why didn't they use the plural to make it easier for our minds, Albie?
Okay. Well, they made it easier for our mind because for 2,000 years and even prior to that, Jewish history speaks about God being a plurality. So, I mean, it makes sense to us. It doesn't make sense to you guys, right? So, I mean, we're not the standard. You're not the standard. Wait, hold on one second. You're not the standard of what makes sense. We go to Scripture to see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And of course, it's going to be a singular image because it's not talking about a physical image, since God is not a corporeal being, a physical being, but he rather transcends all physicality. Therefore, this image has to be a spiritual image, which is a reflection of his moral character and nature. And all three persons, Father, Son, and Spirit, share in that one undivided image because they are perfect in every way.
Why do you always describe God with singular personal pronouns, Albie, and why you're not using the plural ones? Can you explain that?
Well, I can use plural ones or I can use singular, just like the Bible does.
So can you refer to God as my gods? So can you refer to God as my gods in the plural sense? Can you say my gods help me? Can you say my gods help me?
Yeah, absolutely I can. Yeah, absolutely I can. In the sense of that the gods of Israel, the gods of Israel, the gods of Israel, the gods of Israel, the gods of Israel are one. No. The gods of Israel, gods of Israel are one. So it's not.
How do you read?
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. And that's how they understood it. But you're reading your interpretation into it as though it's many gods. However, Scripture is very clear. God is one in one way, more than one another way. So Scripture can easily say, right, the gods of Israel are one.
Don't you see what you're saying? It sounds absolutely pagan. Don't you realize that?
No, I just realized that I'm reading Scripture.
Okay, so you don't realize the pagan you don't realize the pagan vibes that people are getting in the chat right now when you say my gods help me. You're perfectly comfortable with that.
Yeah, well, I don't speak that way. I don't say that way. But you said, is it acceptable to say that? Well, if you're gonna actually have an understanding of Scripture and not defame what Scripture actually says and be honest with what Scripture says, then there would be no problem in reading it in that way because that's how the reading is. But if we're going to look at it in a sense of gods, meaning more than one God, then you're reading your interpretation into it. But we're going to see how much of a problem you're going to have during our cross-examination.
What does Exodus 20 verse 3 stipulates?
Yeah, it says you shall have no other gods before my faces. Who are the faces of God?
Okay, so you just said you have no problem. You said you have no problem calling my gods help, and God just told you you will have no other gods before him.
No, it doesn't say before him. Don't add to Scripture. It says before my faces. Read the Hebrew word. Don't add to Scripture, lest I rebuke you. That's Proverbs 30, verse 6.
That's exactly. Stop with the child.
No, I'm serious. Honestly. Does it not say? Wait. It uses the plural in Exodus chapter 20, verse 3. For faces, it uses the plural, not a singular, but plural.
So you
You
think
got time
God
for
is
one
a
more
hydra?
question, Caleb.
That's what you think. God is a hydra. God is a Cerberus. That's the God you're describing. Multiple faces. Sounds like a trickster God to me. Is that
No.
what you're just? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Albie, take the last word, then we're going to transition.
A trickster god would be a god, right, who is schizophrenic in every way, who speaks to himself but makes himself appear as though he's multi-personal, but he's really schizophrenic.
Yeah, it sounds like
All right,
your God.
gentlemen.